Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today to talk about Book Creator and checking for understanding with Book Creator. We are going to get started in just about 1 minute. So make sure you have your Chrome web browser open and ready if you want to play along with us today as we talk about checking for understanding with Book Creator, our special summer webinar series, Book Creator webinar for today. So, welcome everyone. My name is Monica Burns. I'm a Book Creator Ambassador and pumped to be here with you today for our special webinar, Check for Understanding with Book Creator. Now, for those of you who are joining us live today, you'll see my screen. I'm doing double duty today as your host and facilitator. So if you see my slides on the left-hand side, that's okay. As I'm moving through, you'll get a sneak peek of what's coming ahead. On the right side of your screen, if you're joining us live, is a go-to webinar control panel. If it goes away all of a sudden, all you have to do is tap on the orange button and that will let you open it back up. So go ahead on your GoToWebinar control panel, find where it says questions, and in that question box, just give me a quick hello, give me a thumbs up that you can hear me, say hi, tell me where you are from, and we will get started today. Hi, Maureen, welcome. Hi, Susan from New Zealand, Nicole from New Hampshire. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome, Anna. Welcome, Stephanie, Peggy George. Thanks for joining us. Hi there, Jennifer from Ohio, Diane from Rhode Island, some more New Hampshire folks, Arizona, and Perth, people coming from all over the world today joining us for our special Book Creator webinar. Awesome. So that question box, Fran from New Jersey, welcome. Lynn from Australia, welcome. So that question box is going to be there for you today as I'm talking and going through a whole bunch of things today. Use that space to go ahead and ask questions. Let me know if there's something you're wondering or thinking about or just want to share. And as we pause and go through today, I will take a look and make sure to address your questions as we go through today. Now, what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a couple poll questions on the screen for those of you joining us live today. The first question is, have you used Book Creator on Chrome before? Have you used Book Creator on Chrome before? Go ahead and answer that, and I'll let you know what the results are coming in. We have about half of you have voted. Awesome. That number's going up. So of those of you who are joining us live today, it looks like about half of you have tried it out on Chrome. Some of you have used it only on iPads, and about a third of us have never used Book Reader before. So welcome to all of you, whether you are brand new to this tool or new to using it on Chrome or have tried it out before. Here's our next question, just to help me and everyone else who's joining us today understand where you're coming from and what you're excited about. You can choose more than one answer. So what grade levels do you teach and support? You might choose all of them, these, or you might choose just one or two. Great. Well, it looks like the numbers are coming in. And now remember, some of you chose more than one, so it's not going to add up to 100, but it looks like 3/4 of us together today support K2, about 2/3 with 3-5, about half of the group working with 6-8 students, and about a third working with high school students. Awesome. Now, what subject areas do you teach or do you support? You might, again, choose all of these, or it might be just one or two. Let's see of those things coming in. All right, of the group here joining us live today, it looks like about 3/4 of us work with English language arts, half math, half science, half social studies, and half other. If you're an other person, you can go ahead and put in the question box what your other subject area is. Maybe it's media specialist or foreign language or library studies. You can always put that in the question box just to let us know a little bit about your background, technology, awesome, language, ed tech integration, awesome. And then our last poll question for today is, just general book creator. So some of you are saying that you've used it on Chrome, on iPad, on different things, but how familiar are you with Book Creator? Maybe you're a pro, you've used it a couple times, or you're totally brand new. Awesome. Okay. So, of those of you who voted who are with us live today, who completed the poll, it looks like about 17% are I'm a pro. We've got a split then between the rest of you with used it a few times and brand new. So, don't worry. For those of you who are totally brand new today to Book Creator, I'm going to give a quick overview of the tool. If I'm moving too fast or you want a deeper dive because you're totally brand new to Book Creator, I'll make sure to share a resource with you. We did a getting started book creator webinar last week or a week before. And so we have that recording available for you too. So if you reach a point today where you're like, I need a little more support, I'm totally new to book creator, we have those resources for you, but I'm sure you'll be able to jump right in with us today. So our focus is check for understanding with Book Creator. And as I shared as we started today, my name is Monica Burns. I'm an ed tech and curriculum consultant and former New York City public school teacher. I've been a Book Creator ambassador for a while now, out of the classroom, supporting teachers in different schools, working with students in different classrooms, jumping up around all the place and blogging and sharing lots of favorite tips and strategies, including ways to use Book Creator in the classroom on my blog, classtechtips.com. So I am just so pumped to be here with you today and to spend some time this summer sharing all the reasons why I love Book Creator and plenty of tips for using Book Creator in your classroom. So just so you know, if you head over to bookcreator.com/webinars, that may be where you found this webinar, or maybe you're watching the recording of this and there's still time for you to join some more of our summer ones. We have got a few more events coming up. These are the next 3 with open slots. So using Book Creator for reading responses, real-time collaboration with Book Creator on Chrome, and digital storytelling with Book Creator. So some really fun, exciting topics. Really pumped to share all these with you. If you follow along on my blog and my newsletter, you probably already saw that I have a new ebook that created for the folks at Book Creator, all about reading response activities for using Book Creator. So the webinar is going to focus on some of those topics, but you can always get a head start and take a look at that ebook that I created with Book Creator, full of reading response activities for your classroom too. So for those of you who are totally brand new to Book Creator or haven't used it in a while, we're just going to do a quick overview before we start talking a little bit more about checking for understanding with this awesome, awesome open-ended creation tool. So Book Creator is a open-ended creation tool. It allows you to create and publish books for a completely customizable experience. So open-ended creation tools don't have levels to win or points to earn, right? It's not like the game students might be playing in front of their device or a certain pathway that they need to go through to accomplish their goal. It's open-ended, meaning they have a blank canvas to create and publish books. Now, teachers make books to share with students. Students make books to showcase their learning. And today we're going to talk about all the ways you can support students and check for understanding, make sure they got it when you're learning new things in the classroom with Book Creator. So we're going to talk about how to create customizable experiences. There's no wrong or right way to do any of the things we're talking about today. You'll really want to tailor it to your group of students, what their learning needs are, and what the goals are that you've set for them during the school year. So what can you make with Book Creator? Well, the possibilities are really endless. It's an open-ended creation tool, meaning you can take it on your own direction, choose your own adventure when you are creating ebooks. It might include digital portfolios, poetry books, step-by-step guides, science reports, learning journals, comics, you name it. So what happens is, right, you're taking all the wonderful work that you've always done in the classroom to the next level by creating interactive ebooks with your students that are totally shareable, ready to celebrate, and a way for them to show what they know and for you to check for understanding and hear the voices of all the students in your class that you work with or the students that you support by supporting their teachers. So, how are teachers using Book Creator? Well, they're using it in lots of ways to publish student work, to have students demonstrate their understanding, to promote collaboration, to set a purpose for learning, to create an authentic audience. So, these might be all 5 of the reasons that you are excited about Book Creator, or one might stand out with some of your other goals over the course of the year. So, lots of reasons that teachers are using Book Creator in their classroom. So students can publish their work ready to share and celebrate. They can demonstrate their understanding, so applying what they've learned in any subject area. There's opportunities for different types of collaboration, so students can work together to create one big class book, each creating a page, or work side by side with a peer as they create a book together. And it really helps set a purpose for learning because students know that their end goal is to create an ebook. And that ebook can be shared with an authentic audience, so with real people in the world, local or globally, to showcase the learning that's happening in your classroom or with your students. Awesome. So we're going to do a quick view so you can get a feel for what Book Creator looks like as we start talking about ways to use this tool to check for understanding. So this is a screenshot. I'm showing you some screenshots today so I can monitor our chat and answer questions as we're going through this too. So here you'll see I'm at app.bookcreator.com. That's where I go to log in and to create a book. What you're seeing here on my screen are screenshots from the Chrome web browser. So Book Creator is friendly for Chromebooks. It's friendly for Mac computers like mine right now, where I'm running the Chrome web browser. And it's also an iOS app, so you can use it on iPads too. Now, the screenshots I'm showing you and the examples we're going to talk about today, and our focus is more on Chrome today, so using Book Creator on Chrome, but all of the same big ideas are ones you can use in classrooms with iPads where you're using Book Creator too. So you'll see here that there's portrait, square, landscape, and the awesome comic features. So students can make comic books. They choose one to get started, and then on their page they have the option to do lots of things. They can import or search for images or video. They can take a picture on the fly with their camera. They can use the pen tool to draw illustrations, the text tool to type and add text, and the record button to add their voice to their pages. So with the import button, students can choose files from their computer or on Chrome. So for those of you who are iPad users, this is something special for Chrome. Students can search and they can look for pictures and they can add those pictures to their page using a Google image search. If you haven't done this before, I love it. It even lets you choose what kind of color palette you want if you're looking for a perfect picture for your page. So you can add those pictures to your page, spin them around, change the size. You can also add illustrations or drawings using the pen tool and adding that to your page. You can add text to the page and even change the background or the color of the page. And you can record your voice to add sound to the page and also put shapes on the page too. So lots of different things, layering interactive content all over the page, really fantastic. So why are teachers using Book Creator? Well, it's an interactive tool, so students can make interactive pages. They have the ability to combine media. There's accessibility support to support all learners, and students will create really shareable products. So when it comes to checking for understanding with Book Creator, there are lots of things students can do and you can do to support your students to check for understanding during the process of creating ebooks. You might use Book Creator as everyday journals to check in to students. You might check in within their projects while they're using Book Creator for a culminating project. You might use it as a place to collect one-day exit slips, those daily exit slips at the end of a lesson, for students to chronicle the progress, checking in on different projects, and even to facilitate peer and teacher feedback. So this is a cycle formative assessment I always like to share. It's adapted from Laura Greenstein's book, What Teachers Really Want to Know About Formative Assessment, and it's something I feature and talk about in my book, Formative Tech, on using digital tools in the classroom to check for understanding. So our Formative Assessment 101 or our Check for Understanding 101 is really this. You have your objective, what it is students you want them to be able to do. You have the instructions, so your support, your modeling, you're showing strategies to help them meet that objective. You're assessing them, you're checking in to make sure they've got it. Then there's the analysis, so you know for sure after you look at their work that they understand, or you look for those patterns as well for the pieces that have come in, and then you develop a response. So how are you going to support them as you continue teaching towards that objective? So in that question box right now, and I'll take a peek to see if other questions have come in, but use that question box right now to type in a response to this question. Those of you joining us live today, what are some ways you check for understanding in your classroom or in the classrooms with the teachers you support? So go ahead and use that question box to respond to this question. Awesome. So I see some responses coming in talking about exit slips, talking about using tools for quizzing, even doing a thumbs up, thumbs down to check for understanding, listening into conversation. So there's so many ways that you're already checking for understanding in your classroom, which is awesome. And that's what we're going to really focus on elevating and energizing today with Book Reader. A couple questions came in about Book Reader with that quick overview I just gave. You can cite pictures and really have students be good digital citizens as they search for Creative Commons friendly images. So that's set up for you within Book Reader to search for tagged images as well. And another question came in about sharing final products, which we'll talk a little bit about today too. Students can share the books that they make by publishing it online with a link, by downloading it offline like a PDF file. So great questions coming in already that we'll circle back to as we go through together today. So as we talk about some ways to check for understanding, let's start off by thinking about what's really special about Book Reader on Chrome, which is the ability to create a teacher shared library. So if you've used Book Reader on iPads in the past, this is going to be different. So you'll definitely want to perk up and listen into this piece because it's really cool for checking for understanding. So in Book Creator on Chrome now, when you log in, and we'll talk about what that looks like in a moment, you log in as a teacher, and then your students log in to join your teacher library. This means students can share their work so you can see it, review their progress, and give feedback in real time. It's no more handing in the project on the last day and then seeing what students created over the course of a week. You get that real time monitoring, being able to review student progress. So it's fantastic. So take a look. When you are logged into Book Creator, this is my Book Creator screen. You can see that I am able to create a library, and then I can have people join my library with a special code. So that means I'm in Book Creator. I've got library of things that I want to share, of special events, and I'm even in other people's libraries. That means I can create a new library for my class, and I can share the join code with them, and everything they put in that library, I get to see in real time and give feedback. So when it comes to checking for understanding, this is huge, right? So I'm able to really look at everything. Everything is organized, and I can give feedback and know where someone needs some extra support or extra help. Another strategy is to give students different ways to respond. So if you are checking for understanding in the classroom, we know that not every student will be able to show what they know by writing a response on an exit slip. One of the great things about using digital tools in the classroom is the ability to give students different ways to respond to show what they know. It might be through an audio clip, a video clip, text, or even an illustration. So in Book Creator, students can respond to a prompt in multiple ways. So if you have students creating journals in Book Creator, where they are responding to a prompt you've given, they can respond by writing that paragraph or sentence answer, or they can record their voice. So if you are working in a classroom with students with different levels of language acquisition, maybe a student who's conversationally proficient in English but struggles to write a response, you might want to hear from them how they solved a math problem. And if they are writing a sentence, they might have trouble explaining it to you as they're building their language proficiency. Yet if they they record their voice as a response using the audio tool, you might be able to hear everything that they're thinking and know for sure if they need extra help or if they've mastered the concept. So Book Creator gives students different ways to incorporate media, and this includes responding in different ways by using different types of recordings. You can also have students create everyday journals with Book Creator. So you might create your teacher library. You might encourage students to respond in different ways using different media. And here they have everyday journals where you might have a math journal, a science journal, a social studies, a reading and writing journal. So you have lots of options. You might even have a journal that's just for reflections for students to reflect on progress more generally. Either way, with an everyday journal in your teacher library, you're able to peek in and see what students are doing on a regular basis and be able to give them feedback no matter what type of response they give, audio, video, you name it. Here's an example from the Two Techie Teachers that's featured on Book Creator's blog. If you haven't been to Book Creator's website before, they have a fantastic education blog there full of classroom stories, including this one from the Two Techie Teachers. So in this example, you see students have pages where they're able to take a photo and add a photo to their page. They're able to write or add an audio button if they record their voice. So different ways to respond within an everyday journal, all for the purpose of checking for understanding to make sure students understand the particular goal at hand. Here's another example from Alicia Sheehy, also featured on Book Creator's blog. So you can read her whole story about this here. Here you see she has a template on the page. So students have this template where they're putting in their word, their definition, their reflection, their picture. And in this journal, students are able to do a few different things. They can complete the box, right? Or they can fill in the box using a text box where they type their answer. They could have used the record button to record their response. They could have also used the pen tool, like you see at the top, to write using their finger or a stylus. And then they can search for and add pictures or videos as part of this too. So what we see here in this next journal example is from Christy Musey, fellow book creator ambassador and Apple Distinguished Educator. Just amazing work. And her stories you can find on Book Creator's blog too. She also has another awesome blog of her own that's worth exploring. So here you can see how her students were able to take a screenshot in another app, add it to the page, and then put text and arrows. And of course, they can record their voice if they want to, too, on this page. And she is able to look at their book to check for understanding, to really make sure they understand their shapes. So really a fantastic opportunity there, too. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you're on Chrome browser already, you can open up another tab, or you can open up the Chrome browser separately on your device, whether you're a Chromebook or a Mac like me. And I'm going to ask you to head over to app.bookcreator.com. And when you get there, you're going to have the option to be a teacher or a student and go ahead and sign in as a teacher. You can use your email, you can use Google hosted account, you name it. So what we're going to do is we're going to try out a couple of the strategies today live together. So you can play around, ask questions, and I can peek at your questions as they're coming in too. So awesome. So go ahead, head over to app.bookcreator.com and sign in as a teacher. Now I'm going to take that link and just move it down the screen. It's still there for you. So if you've got there already, go ahead and snap a picture of something nearby. So when you hit the camera button on your page, snap a picture. It'll prompt you most likely on your device. It'll say, is it okay to use the webcam on your computer? You can hold up maybe your cup of coffee or a book on your desk, snap a picture of it, and then try adding some text. Use the draw tool, a caption with your voice to describe what's in the picture. And as you do that, I'm going to take a peek and see what questions are coming in. Okay, as you're snapping pictures and trying this out, I see some questions coming in specifically about the iPad and Chrome connection. So syncing up between iPad and Chrome. The folks at Book Creator, they tell me stay tuned, right? This is something that's coming down the line to make sure everything talks to one another. So as we focus today specifically on looking at Chrome, all of that will sync across multiple Chromebooks or multiple devices as you log in, and stay tuned for the iPad connection as well. So awesome, those of you who are snapping pictures of something nearby, try adding text or using the draw tool to capture your voice. And as those of you who either want to share or are sitting back to listen and will play along at a later time, go ahead in that question box and share. How could you use a journal to check for understanding on a daily or weekly basis? So we talked about the vocabulary, math journals, differentiating the types of responses. How could you use a journal to check for understanding on a daily or weekly basis? And I'll take a peek at some of your responses coming in the question box there too. Awesome. So, a couple different ways to check for understanding on a daily or weekly basis. It might be having students respond to different lessons, as you, especially if you're seeing students maybe just once a week in a science or a library classroom. Awesome. You might have students using journals for reading responses. Great. Just like the math version or math example we saw, you might have students using this tool to do a weekly math update or reflection on their math for you to jump into. Cindy shared an example of having students think about their biggest takeaway from a lesson. Fantastic. Yep, for the science lab, Maureen, you might have students snap pictures, just like we're playing around and snapping pictures right now, to document different things so you can make sure they're following all the directions quickly and carefully. Great. So you can keep responding to these questions, posing any other questions that you have into the question box, and I'm going to move through and share some more examples with you. So, in addition to those everyday journals, you might also use Book Creator for long-term projects and want students to check in by adding extra faces on their page so that you get a feel for their progress within a project. This might include having them take a picture or use graphic organizers, have a checklist next to their book so that they're able to monitor and make sure they've included all the components that you'd like them to include. They might take screenshots of progress happening in other apps, or it might even be something where you or having one-on-one conferences with students and keeping track of your conferring moments in a different type of document or resource too. So here's an example from Book Creator's blog as well, all about penguin research gone digital. You can see here that students are on their devices creating and capturing information, but also using paper and pencil side by side to storyboard and make a plan as well. So you might have those extra graphic organizers and resources for students too. In this example, also featured on Book Creator's blog, and you'll see that little bit.ly link there if you want more info about this particular example. You might have students working on their Chromebooks, creating a book all about a particular topic, and then have a checklist right next to them so they can make sure they have all three things they need on their cover, all three things they need on their last page, and all of those extra resources so that they know exactly what the expectation is and that you are able to support them even if you're not sitting side by side. Same thing goes if you have students who are perhaps giving feedback to a peer. Another example with a bit.ly link that you can find on Book Creator's blog. So here you might say to them, who's going to be the editor, and double check your work, make sure everything looks perfect and ready to share with the world. So using Google Forms is another way to monitor what's going on in your classroom, keep track of meetings. It can be used on a teacher-only device and link or even include a link in a teacher-created shared book. So I am a huge fan of Google Forms. I'm sure many of you, and you can even give me a thumbs up in the questions box, right? Use a Google Classroom or Google Forms in different moments. So here's an example of a writer's workshop conference forum. You might be working with students who are writing, fill out a form, collect all that information, and have it in one place so that you are able to double check in with students, make sure that they're doing everything that they need in order to be successful, or even noticing patterns of students who need a little extra support around one particular topic. In addition to using Google Forms as a way to keep track of your own working and talking with students one-on-one, you might have students take part in an app smash with Seesaw so that they can give feedback and see the work of their peers. Now, students can share their books by publishing them online and getting a shareable link when they're working on Chromebook. So as your student would be in a Chrome browser, they'd have their book ready to share. They can publish it online. And of course, they can go back and make changes and republish it if they make changes to it too. So students can publish that book, have a link, post it in Seesaw. So open up a Seesaw web browser on their Chromebook, post it in Seesaw, and then their peers can leave feedback on student creations. So when we talk about check for understanding and making sure students have all the support they need as they dive into new coursework, no matter what the subject area is. Part of this is building in a feedback loop. It might be mostly you giving feedback, it might be partially peers giving feedback, but students can use an app to share their work like Seesaw so that other students in their class can see what they've created as well. So if you've used Seesaw before, you know it looks something similar to this, where students would have their link to their book. They'd choose the link option, they'd tap on the link, and then they would add that link so that others could see what it is that they have created and they could give feedback on that piece as well. So another option, we talked about our everyday journals, using Google Forms to check in and monitor, having kids use graphic organizers as well, is to use Book Creator for daily exit slips. This means that in your teacher shared library, every student would have their own exit slip book where every day on their device, they'd open up their Book Creator page, they'd add a new page and respond to a prompt. They might take a picture of a collaborative creation. They would have a clear purpose. So you tell them that you'd like them to respond in a particular way so that you could check for understanding that way and really have some shareable learning experiences where you're able to see what it is that they have accomplished and make sure that you are tailoring instruction the next day or the next meeting with them based on their particular needs. So here's an example of what that might look like, right? You might have students who have created a poem and they're going to put that in their daily exit slip log before they leave the classroom. Karen Bosch is a fantastic educator who does such amazing work with her students. And this is an example where she's featured on Book Creator's blog. And so students have a video, they have a poem, and she's able to then see all of their creations. And now with the Chrome library, the teacher library, in real time, you're able to see everything that students do so that you can really check in just like you would if you were collecting a sticky note or an index card exit slip at the end of the day, except it's all organized into your teacher library. Here's another example featured on Book Creator's blog from Megan Zigmund. Here you can see students are able to give audio responses with that audio button so teachers can tap and hear from students too. So just like we said before with those differentiating types of responses, some of your students might take a video, others might write a paragraph, while other students might use the audio tool to respond with that exit slip, that end of day response so that you can check for understanding using audio. And here's another example from Alana King featured on Book Creator's blog, where students are able to watch a quick video, tell about a time they saw some fireworks, and then create one page. So at the end of a lesson, she's able to see one page from each student. And Alana's actually taken all these pages, these firework pages, with poems and responses, and put them all into one collaborative book so all students can see what students accomplished in their class at the end of a lesson. So really powerful for those exit slips, those check for understanding, those end of lesson moments where students can create something they're really proud of while you're also checking for understanding. So now I'm going to ask you to try it. Pretend we've just finished a lesson on the seasons. Maybe it's summer or fall or winter or spring. Write the name of your favorite season and two things you learned about it. So those two things you learned about it, it might be an audio response, it might be a picture. Open up that app.bookcreator.com, make a new page in your book, choose a season, and write two things you learned about that season while I check in on our questions coming through. Awesome. Yep, I see some other people or some things coming in right now about the different ways you could use. Yep, you could absolutely have kids for an activity like this respond in audio. You might actually have different people in the same class, right, responding in different ways, or it might be more scalable if you're working with a lot of different students. Awesome. So let's take another few moments for you to go ahead and try this one out. Cindy asked a question. I'll answer as we're trying out this. She asked, how can some of these products be shared with parents? Fantastic question. You can have students share by publishing their work online, and then you have a link to share with families, or they can download it as an EPUB file straight from the Chrome web browser, or they can download it as a PDF file. So a couple different options for sharing with families. Joseph asked about changing font size. What you can do is once you've typed in and you hit done to add to your page, you'll have that blue box around your text. Then you can go ahead and you can add, by hitting the inspector button, all those extras like bold or centering text or changing font. And if you want to use math symbols, you can always copy and paste them into a text box as well. Great question. So let's keep moving during our time together to talk about some more ways to check for understanding. We talked a little bit about peer and teacher feedback. So when it comes to using Book Creator in different settings, you might peek in using your teacher library and comment on text that students have written. You might have students be peer collaborators where they're looking at each other's work in the class and giving feedback. You might have students sitting at a desk, like even in a blended learning rotation, and when they get to a certain station, they're jigsawing and sharing a little bit of what they've done on a particular topic and soliciting feedback. Or you might even use something like Book Creator as mid-unit check-in, so not waiting till the very end to see if someone understood or got it from a quiz or a test, but getting a full, complete picture by listening to voice, looking at student curated images or illustrations, or reading text that they've added to their page. Here's an example of what it might look like if you have students kind of collaborating and working together. Mira Campbell has an awesome story on Book Creator's blog all about this, where students are able to capture multiple images, show the progress within a project as well. So it's not just the what did your final piece look like, but here's everything it took, the behind the scenes look, and that can all be part of what is a check for understanding, so you can see progress over the course, but then ultimately is celebrated as part of the process at the end as well. Another strategy for incorporating peer and teacher feedback brings us back to that Google connection. You might have students working in Google Docs to say storyboard or outline a story for their ebook. Then you or a peer can peek in, they can see what a student has created and provide feedback. So there's no surprises here, right? You are giving real-time feedback. It's timely and actionable so students can make changes right away, apply that new learning, and still create a really beautiful, robust, shareable product. And one of the favorite ways to use Book Creator to check for understanding that can help students really develop some transferable skills across content areas is goal setting. This might be daily, weekly, or monthly, having that check in for progress so that you're really saying, what are your goals? What is it that you're working on during this unit of time? And have students reflect regularly. An important process for them to be part of, regardless of their age or the subject area where they're working on. Having that goals is really important too. And so I'm going to ask you right now in your book creator page, that your book that you're working on, add that extra page and let's set a goal for your own practice. So go ahead and write a goal you have for using Book Creator this year on your page. If you want to, share it as well in that question box, you're more than welcome to. But I want you to create that last page with us together today. What's a goal you have for using Book Creator this school year or in an upcoming school year? And of course, you can use this time to add any questions that you want to our question box. Go ahead. Great. Adding any audio. Maybe it's a selfie video with your goal for using Book Creator this school year onto your page. And as you keep working on that goal page, go ahead in our question box and let's think of this question together. How can you use Book Creator to check for understanding? Of the ways that we talked about today, is there one that really stands out? Is there one I didn't mention that you want me to give a shout out to? How can you use Book Creator to check for understanding? Great. Yep. You can use Book Creator for those daily journals to get that peek to see what everyone is having as their big takeaways. So you can use that question box to share. Jennifer is talking about student journaling. Yep, a fantastic way. It might even be a free write at the beginning of class to get students wheels spinning, or something really, really focused, like responding to a prompt about a science experiment or math strategy. Great, keep them coming into our question box. Yep, we could have students take pictures and then add some captions to check for understanding. Have students answer each other's questions and really crowdsource that as well. Awesome. So we're going to finish up today by giving you an opportunity to post any more questions that you have. As you do, about the new book creator on Chrome. If you haven't used it before, it might be new for you. So what you're doing today, which you might be logging in right now to play along with us, is you have the opportunity to create one teacher library to store up to 40 books totally for free. Or you can upgrade to the 180 book or the 1,000 book plan, which gives you more options for more libraries and more books in each library. The folks at Book Creator, they have a special email account, sales@bookcreator.com. So if you have specific questions for your school, you can always reach out to them too. But you can absolutely get started with the free plan, get all your kids in for free for that one library up to 40 books. And then when you're ready to take it up to the next level, to bring this in across subject areas with all of your students, Book Creator has those extra options as well. Fantastic. So if you have any questions, we're going to take our last 2 minutes together here to answer any other questions that may come in about using Book Creator on Chrome as well. So for the student accounts, a question about student accounts came in. So your students, they are going to get in by joining your code. So you are the one who starts off with account, either free or paid, and that's going to dictate how many books that can be made in your library. You get your teacher library code, share that with students, and then they get in. They join your library, and you can monitor that and invite people into your library even if they weren't there on day one as well. Shauna asked about sharing the presentation. Don't worry, this is going to be uploaded onto YouTube very soon, so you can rewatch, you can share the link, you can pause, revisit. And of course, you can always send questions. My email's down there at the bottom of the screen too, or reach out to the book creator folks if there's something that pops into your head a little bit later as well. Angelique asked about Book Creator on iPads, limiting the number of books. So what you'll see on iPads is a little bit different than what you do on Chrome on what you see on Chrome, what we talked about today. So there's different kind of ways to organize when you are on iPads as well for students too. So I see some few more questions coming in. Yep, you can absolutely create templates for students and share that with them. There's some different strategies that we'll look at in upcoming webinars with that too. Some questions coming in about citations. So you can search for Google Images within the tool. If you want that extra citation information, you can add that as a caption below. Awesome. Okay, so if there's any more questions that I didn't get to today, you can always send an email my way or to the Book Creator team. And I want to make sure you know that there are more Book Creator summer webinars coming up. So if you're joining us live or watching this recording early in the summer, there's still time for you to join us for these extra webinars coming up over the next few weeks throughout the summer. And of course, we want you to join in, to share what you've learned, to show off the great work happening in your schools and classrooms. You can head over to Book Creator's Facebook page. They have a special group, facebook.com/groups/book creator, to join us there. And of course, on Twitter, tag at Book Creator app, hashtag Book Creator, show off all the wonderful things that you are creating. Find some awesome colleagues in different corners of the world who are excited about creation in the classroom too. But thank you so much for carving out time today to join us on the webinar, whether you're with us live or watching the recording of this. You are fantastic. So excited for you to be part of this work, and I can't wait to see what you create with Book Creator and what your students are able to share with the world. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.